You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Greetings, fellow sentients. I understand that we all need sustenance, and there are times when crunching on a bantha burger just won't fill that gap. Luckily, help is at hand. Here at Gobo's Groceries, we have all the options you could ever possibly ask for. We have Mama F4TZ's traditional blueberry nutrient sticks, the only nutrient stick endorsed by the Empire and made with love.
Blueberries in love, metaphorical, contains 0.04% nutrients.
We have right old chilies, hotter than a Tatooine sunrise, for when you're smuggling. Innocent trading contracts mean you have to do the castle run in less than 12 parsecs.
Excessive consumption can cause blindness. Close proximity to a refresher at all times is advised.
Freebo spicy snacks, essential chow for the pilot on the go and guaranteed legal on at least 9 planets.
Guaranteed metaphorical. May cause unexpected side effects if consumed by a non-Rhodian.
And to quench your thirst, why not try a golden pod racer? 80% of Juros agree that it's better than Frelp.
Juros full size was 1 person.
Gobo's Groceries, the only friendly neighborhood store that's galaxy-wide.
Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Adam and I am the GM for the Coldfire Chronicles. This is Chapter 2, Episode 10, and I am joined round the table by...
Hi, my name is Mikey. I play Jiren, a mystic advisor whose emotional strength is his enthusiasm, but his emotional weakness is his recklessness.
Hi, my name is Ed Fortune. I play the character of Oberon Brick. He is a human hunter-seeker. His emotional strength is about justice, and his weakness is cruelty.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Agatha, a Moriolan warrior aggressor, whose emotional strength is his pride, but whose weakness is his anger.
Hi, I'm Mim. I'm playing Lassa. She's a human sentinel artisan. Her emotional strength is her curiosity, but her emotional weakness is her obsession.
And before we get started with today's episode, do we have a question from the characters?
Agatha would like to ask Oberon a question. How do you see this ending?
Oh, you don't want really very bad question.
Agatha thinks this is a good question. You can tell the future.
For me personally, in either my death or the death of someone I once loved.
Agatha is not sure. Agatha wants an early answer to this question now.
I did warn you.
Okay, before we get going properly, let's rebuild our destiny pool for this next batch of episodes. Can everyone please roll me a force die?
So I'm on one light side.
And that's me on one light side.
I'm on 2 dark side.
I'm on 2 dark side.
And I'm on 1 light side. So that's 4 dark, 3 light in our destiny pool to start with.
Go team.
People wonder why we don't trust you.
Okay. We rejoin our heroes on Falcon 2 base, a dusty rebel forward post in one of the many asteroids orbiting Lenico 4. While the majority of our heroes have had a thoroughly enlightening discussion with an Ithorian scholar, Lassa has been left on Coldfire's mercy doing a number of much needed repairs. And so we'll quickly get that little mechanical bit out of the way while our heroes are making their way back to the vessel. So, Mim, Coldfire's Mercy suffered a little bit of strain damage, and I'm aware that you want to get her back into tip-top shape before we leave. So can you please make me a mechanics test, difficulty only a singular purple?
Alright, considering how I've been rolling recently, this should be a really simple, easy test. But I haven't been the luckiest. So I've got 2 yellow, a green, and I've got a force dice to use if I want.
And the difficulty is a single purple?
Yeah, a single purple difficulty. That's 1 success, 1 advantage, and 2 light side points.
Okay, do you want to spend those light side points on advantages, and that will then let you clear all the strain on the ship?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you spend some time working on the Coldfire's Mercy. The damage that was caused to the circuits, a slight overload from when Oberon was mashing the control stick to get you here, it's easily repairable. There's not a lot of mainstream damage. It's not something that taxes you particularly, so it doesn't take you a great deal of time to get the ship back up and running. While this is going on, while you're doing these minor repairs, Rebel crew are coming onto Coldfire's Mercy and removing the boxes of goods that you shipped over here on Hawker's behalf for them. So you're being left with your foodstuffs and your emergency like little repairy bits that was assigned to the crew, but all of the goods that you smuggled here for Hawker, they're kind of taking those off. That's probably going to take a couple of hours. They're a lot more efficient getting it unloaded than the lifter droids were when they first loaded you up back on Port Haven. But that's possibly because on Port Haven they were being paid by the hour, whereas here they need those goods
There
often.
is a cause powering them.
Yeah, exactly. Tugger at the moment is overseeing that from the cargo bay, so you're kind of left alone without him at the moment. Prinkle is in the kitchen doing whatever it is that Prinkle does in the kitchen. You can hear him singing to himself just about audibly. Is there anything else you'd like to do before...
Yes. Lassa left a bit of a mess when she was trying to make the improvised crybaby and tried to rip out the listening device. I kind of need to fix that up, so Tugger's got a place to dock.
Yes.
What needs to be done there? How badly have I ruined this?
Well, it depends as well what you want to do while you're repairing the astromech dock. Do you want to try again at removing the comms relay that's in there?
Yes, but we're not going to be subtle about it anymore. We're going to just take it out, primarily under the pretense of needing to use this to make a new crybaby if I can. Now I've got time to properly look and focus and pick up some useless materials to make into this thing. I'm going to give it a second shot.
Okay, so that will be a mechanics test again. The difficulty is 2 purple, but I'm going to give you a setback die on there for the damage that you'd already caused.
Okie dokie. 1 light side point and 1 advantage.
Well, you can turn that light side point into a success.
I would like to do that very much so.
Okay, so you have 1 success, 1 advantage. So, yep, you do manage to both get the comms equipment out and repair the astromech dock. For your advantage, any ideas what you want to do with that, perhaps? I do have a suggestion if nothing's coming straight to mind for you.
I'd like a suggestion.
You could put it back so that as far as Tugger or anyone using that astromech dock is concerned, that relay hasn't been removed.
Yeah, I'll go for that. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get that since I've already made a real mess of it, but if you're saying I can have that, I'm very happy.
Yeah, no, that's okay. It's now that you've already, criffed it up a little bit, as you're putting it back together, it's not that difficult to put it back so it doesn't look like it's missing, if you know what I mean.
Cue Lassa's innocent whistling as she polishes it all down.
Yeah, it's not the prettiest job you've ever done, but it is sufficient, it is effective, and it will now work again for him to dock, to charge, and to connect to his various functions in the ship.
There we go. Right as rain. Good as new.
And that does mean that you've got the various bits now to make the crybaby if you want to make the crybaby.
Brilliant.
You have got a bit more time before anyone gets back if you want to start work on the crybaby.
I would love to start work on the crybaby, particularly because Lassa she's kind of got to prove herself a bit at the moment. She's just messed up quite badly as far as she was concerned. She's quite embarrassed. So I'm really going to focus and do the best gosh darned crybaby that we've ever had. This is going to have a face drawn on it and all of those little touches of detail that are going to show that she's showing off now. Here's hoping it goes well.
Okay, so to build this crybaby, it's going to be difficulty 2, so an average difficulty. I'm going to throw a setback die in there again as well because of the time pressures that you're under and how sensitive this is to build, and also because you have, when you were mucking around with the astrogation bits earlier on, it's not the best removal job you've ever made. So yeah, so 2 purple and a setback die, I think, for this one.
Okay.
I would recommend maybe using a destiny point.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to spend a destiny point to emphasise how much attention I'm putting into this to try and make up for my mistakes from earlier.
Okay, so what's your final pull for this roll then?
3 yellow and 1 force dice.
Okay, so 3 yellow, 1 force die, 2 purple and a black.
Yep. Right, so all in all, that's 1, 2, 3 successes and 2 threat and 1 dark side point.
Okay, so 3 successes and 2 threat and a dark side point. Do you wish to use that dark side point to draw upon the dark side of the Force?
No.
Okay then. So, you do manage to make the crybaby. Crybaby's fine, the crybaby is fully functional, the crybaby will work.
For now.
No. Crybaby will absolutely serve its function. The threats. The only transponder signal that you can make affix to this crybaby is yours. So when you fire the crybaby off, the Imperials will absolutely know that there is another vessel in this system and will follow that crybaby, but they will know it is the Coldfire's Mercy.
Fair enough. Okay.
Okay.
If they made us before, they might already have our details, so that might be not so bad. I mean, no worse than it already is, but we'll see.
Okay. And with 3 successes, this is going to take you about 6 hours or so to properly bodge together and make working. As the rest of you arrive back on the ship, the Alliance have finished unloading and have gone. Tugger is mooching around at this moment. Lasser is in the workshop building the Crybaby. Anything that the rest of you want to do while Lasser's building this, or are we content to fast forward?
Oberon? I think the plan here is to follow the... Did we get the data slate?
You did get the data slate, yeah.
Follow these coordinates to the Space Pirate's ship, and then jump as quick as we can to where the scholar is. Could you do something to set that in motion beforehand? Because we're going to have to go very quickly.
Okay, so you want me to just prepare coordinates? Okay. Sorry, Joanne. I see what you're saying, yes. I'll have a quick word with Tugger. I'll see what we can do. I go over to Tugger.
Okay.
And observe, you know how there's like an asteroid floor?
Mm-hmm.
I want to figure out the best way we can hide behind all the junk.
Okay.
So, I know Joanne's just gone, we need to do this quickly, but I'm sitting there going, we don't need to do it quickly at all. If we can be invisible and stealth it, then we can avoid rapid detection.
Yeah.
My plan is to rock hop the ship.
Okay. And you're going to be speaking to Tugger about this as well?
Yeah.
And yep, the two of you start working on the astrogation computer. Luckily, the Alliance having been here for a bit, and Tugger having been doing a little bit of poking around, they have been doing something quite similar for the time that the base has been here, because they use the same tactics, essentially shrouding themselves behind all the various astral bodies that are in this asteroid field to mask their presence from the Imperials. So you do have a fair amount of information to help build this profile, especially once you've got the coordinates from Thrall's data slate, both for the location of the Coster Thibaren and also the location of this scholar, which is on the planet Alpin. The first role I'm going to want from you to plot yourself a sneaky course round to the Coster Thibaren. It's an astrogation test. The difficulty should be 2 purple, but I'm going to spend a dark side point to upgrade that to a purple and a red. I'm going to give you a boost die from Tugger and another boost die from the Rebel kind of star charts for this area, but I'm going to throw a setback die in there as well, just because there is so much traffic from asteroids and meteorites, and though they've managed to plan out the movement of the big rocks, there's still some smaller bits of debris and rubbish that move a bit less predictably just because of the various nature of the field.
Well, that's definitely a failure.
That's what we like to hear. Carry on.
A promising start.
But 2 advantage?
Okay, a failure but 2 advantage. So, long story short, you are not going to be able to plot yourself out a course that will let you cling to the asteroids and completely conceal your approach to the Coster Thibaren. What you can have, however, is maybe use those 2 advantages boost die to your piloting spacecraft roll as you try and sneak.
Okay.
If you'd succeeded on this astrogation test, you wouldn't then need to make another roll. You could just hop your way along it. Having to fly manually is going to be a more difficult roll, but you will have the benefits of having had at least an idea of how to do it, if you see where I'm coming from.
Joanne, so the good news is it's possible.
Ah, excellent.
The bad news is I'm almost certainly going to stall the engine again.
This is going to be very exciting, I can tell. I trust you, it's fine. We will do fine. We have a good crew here.
Coldfire's Mercy is a good ship.
Yeah.
But she's not built for this.
No, we're a frigate, if anything. We need smaller ships, but it's nice to have the places to sleep. So we lose something in tactical when we gain in legroom.
I just hope I don't break the throttle again.
Okay, if you do break the throttle, I'll speak to Lasser.
Okay.
Lasser, remember when I said that you were hearing all of the comms that I had?
Yes.
I don't think I've turned it off yet.
You just hear some heavy sighing and some clunk clicking as she straps herself into engineering.
Jiren's eyes go wide suddenly. He goes, "Oh, Griff!"
Have you had the comms on that entire time?
Yes.
That entire time?
You hear her come over
Yes.
the main comms. Yes.
Okay, well, if everyone's content, are you planning on staying the night to kind of go on a full night's sleep, or are you just going to crack on? How do you feel?
Well, we'll go and see Lasser and see how things are doing. There's a very polite knock on the engineering door.
Lasser opens the door with headgear on, goggles up, bit of dirt smudged on her face and various tools in her hands. You go, "You right?"
Yeah, not bad. How are we doing? Is the ship all tickety-boo?
Oh, she's tickety and she's a-booing. She's all good. I've sorted out the few bits that needed fixing. I've managed to find enough stuff to make a nice little crybaby, so we've got diversion if we need it. Granted, it's a diversion in that they'll be following a fake us rather than a fake genetic signal, but it's not bad.
Right. Well, we have a fake ID on the ship at the moment. So, is what you have done replicating the fake ID or replicating the Coldfire's mercy?
It's us. The real us.
Right, okay, well, as long as we keep the fake ID on, we're good, but eventually that will be quite obvious that it's not us, so I don't think it's something we need to worry about straight away, so...
No, because I reckon the worst case scenario, we can put self-destruct on it, and then they'll assume after they've followed us for a while that we'll have been blown up, and then they might stop looking for us altogether, but I don't know.
This changes the plan somewhat, but we can work with it. I don't really like having plans that I need to think about for too long. Yeah. So you heard we're going to... a ship that was that raided Dathomir, is that...
Oh, yeah, I heard. He was a lovely bloke, wasn't he, Jason?
I liked him, actually. I wish I could speak to him, rather than listen.
I mean, Thrall's so lovely, and it's nice that he pays attention to you, and he was very interested in you scholarly boy, you.
What can I say? He saw that I am a very clever person. I mean, I can put my hand to anything, apart from piloting and engineering and whatever Agatha does. Anyway, we're going to the Coster Thibaren. I believe we're all set to go. Let us know when you're ready and we will go.
I think we're ready. I fixed up the docking bay for Tugger so we can astromech his little heart out.
Jiren leans over and presses the intercom on the entire ship. Everybody ready to go? Do you want to wait or shall we make tracks?
I'm ready to go, though I do have an idea.
Okay, shall we meet in the...
I can tell you it now.
Let's not broadcast it over the entire ship. Let's meet at the table in the break room.
Okay.
Are we going to have to broadcast that we're all meeting in the table in the break room over the whole ship? Because I'm not sure if that'll defy the point. Who exactly are we not telling?
Well, because if you stand outside the ship, you can probably hear us broadcasting. I'm going to take my finger off the button. And goes to the break room.
So does Lasser. Heads to the break room, gets a cuppa.
Pyjak was already in there drinking a brew provided to him by Prinkle.
I wait for Agatha. Just a thought. So every ship has a transponder, yes?
Yep.
And you can ping transponders?
Yep.
And we're in a junkyard with lots of ships.
Yeah.
And we want to create chatter and confusion for the Imperials.
Right.
So they don't suspect there's anything going on down below.
What, like there being lots of chatter and confusion in a junkyard?
Well, what you could do is you could just set it up so there's some sort of fault. We go to the Coster Thibaren, and then could we set it up so it just sets a chain reaction of transponder noise, and then when they go and investigate, they go, oh, transponder noise.
I think the problem there is we either need to be on the ships the transponders are pinging from, or the ship that's detecting it.
Can we not just send a signal to anything out there to make everything else ping back? Build a feedback loop?
Possibly. It's something I'd have to look into, but to be honest, we don't really want to, at the moment, we don't want to draw their attention. The thing I've made is if we get in a pickle, then it's made and we can deploy it, but it's a last shout. We're not out there trying to save anyone or do anything at the moment. We've just... I mean, from what I heard, these guys are going to be moving off at some point because they already know they've been looked for, and we've just made it a little bit worse, I'll admit, but...
They plan, hopefully, when we leave, to make a bit of a show and dance, so they think that the base is being abandoned and they follow us.
Oh, okay.
Which is fine, because we'll be leaping, and they can't track us through leap. But I think once we get to the Coster Thibaren, if we can power it up and make it seem like it might be a rebel base, and then escape it loud.
That's not something I can do, but okay.
Well, you can fly away very quickly, so this is...
Yes.
Try and power up the ship when we get there?
If that's what you want to do, all right.
I was thinking of blowing it up, actually.
We've not gotten there yet.
I know. I'm always thinking of blowing things up.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad idea.
You see, this is why I don't tell you the plans before we do them. Because, we're now thinking, what should we do when we get there? Let it happen.
Can we just go and meet the person and not consider trying to blow up? We're not fighting in a war yet or anything like that.
Go and meet which person?
We haven't...
We're going to meet a person, aren't we? That was the point. We're going to go find some stuff to give to a person.
Yeah, we're going to go find some stuff at the Coster Thibaren.
All right, well, let's go and do that. And
okay, that's fairly easy.
Let's start with the first part of the plan. If we need to blow stuff up, we'll blow stuff up. But we're not an army going in guns a-blazing.
See, okay, we will go through the plan one step at a time then. He looks a little bit like, is this how everybody else lives?
I'm giving Agatha a look, and what I think I'm seeing now, Agatha, by nodding is explosions.
Agatha has noticed that the chart, the heights and depths chart that they made in the mess hall, has been slightly dislodged, and he thinks one of the Alliance people is trying to, just troll them with all of his spoilers. So he's quite annoyed at the moment. So he has completely ignored whatever it is Oberon's just done.
He's just sitting there, just staring at his chart, fuming quietly.
Yeah.
White-knuckled on the edge of the table.
Nobody else in the room is going to understand why.
Just scowling at it, occasionally just leaning over and moving one of the bits of string up and the other one down.
Well, he's trying to work out whether somebody's, modified the chart to indicate that somebody's died that he cared about.
They are further ahead than Agatha.
Yep.
Agatha crush spoilers.
So Agatha's not happy. Rebel scum.
Okay. So all these bits and bats sorted out then, are you heading off to the Coster Thibaren then?
Yes.
Europe.
Okay. You start to pull away from Falcon 2 base back into the asteroid field, and I'm going to want from you, Ed, if you're attempting to be sneaky about it, as I think you probably are, can you please make me a piloting spacecraft roll?
Indeed.
The difficulty is going to be 3 purple, but you've got those 2 boost die from earlier on, essentially from your advantages.
That's a lot of dice. Ooh. 2 successes.
Okay. You manage to wend your way through the asteroid field very, very slowly. The Imperial cruiser is still out there. Where is everyone on the ship then? Where are your usual stations? Tugger is in his astromech dock, Prinkle's in the galley.
Jiren's at communications.
Laster generally stays near engineering in case something goes pop.
The engine cycle is almost hypnotic, by the way, because it goes all the way up and then it goes all the way down. It's kind of soothing.
Last time we moved, we had positions. Agatha was near the guns. He didn't know why, but he knows what the guns are for, but he doesn't know why him.
And Pyjack's in the other set of guns.
Okay.
Okay, Jiren,
Hello.
you're on comms,
Yep.
and you can see that this Imperial cruiser is once again broadcasting the sensor sweep, but you're managing to stay just out of sight of it. There might be a few little bits where you become very briefly visible as you kind of rock hop, but you do manage to make it to the asteroid marked on your map by Frawl. When you get there, it's a fairly sizable asteroid, not quite as big as the one that Falcon 2 base is built into, but it's a reasonable size. And what you see as it kind of comes into visual range is the Coster Thibaren. At least you presume it's a Coster Thibaren. It appears to be largely powered down at the moment. It's a HWK-290 light freighter, a very old one, and that is landed and docked on the side of this asteroid. Now, attached to it by docking umbilicals, on the top, kind of 4 or 5 meters length of umbilical docking, so it's not on the asteroid itself, it's docked onto the Coster Thibaren, is a Pathfinder scout ship that looks even older and more rickety than the Coster Thibaren. And on the asteroid, right snugged up underneath the Coster Thibaren with another umbilical attached to it, is what looks like a Jedi Star Sprite, again very, very old, exceedingly rickety, that are both, as I say, attached by umbilicals to the Coster Thibaren. From the outside, there is no lights or visible signs of power on any of these 3 vessels.
Just for clarity, because we were told this ship disappeared about 700 and something years ago.
Yeah, about 700 years ago, yeah.
Okay, so we wouldn't be expecting an awful lot of power to still be on at this point anyway.
The fusion reactors inside starships kind of last for a fair time.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean
I don't know the scales involved in this.
yeah, I mean, there's if it had been left kind of running, then yeah, it would have died completely by this point. That's one explanation. If it's been put in hibernate mode like the Coldfire's Mercy was, then maybe that's another explanation. Certainly there's nothing visible.
Okay.
There's no visible signs, but as you say, that's not unexpected given what you've been told about the Coster Thibaren.
Jiren,
Hello.
the Coster Thibaren turned out to be an old bird. Can we not blow it up? That'd be a shame.
Yeah, we don't have to. We need some way of distracting the Imperials away from from Falcon 2.
They're lovely old ships, HWKs.
What's the little one that's underneath?
Can't quite tell. Some sort of small parasite craft, I think.
Is there a place to attach? I know there's 2 umbilicals on it. Can we also?
No, not on it. The umbilicals that are attached to it
Yeah.
don't appear to be standard to the Coster Thibaren.
Right.
They are not like snugged up against it like you sometimes get with starfighters in a Corvette or anything like that. These are boarding tubes that are attached respectively to the Pathfinder and the Star Sprite that have been launched from those two vessels and in. So they're not part of the Coster, they are part of the two parasite vessels. So you can either try to land nearby and scoot over, you can try to attach and then cut a hole into the Coster Thibaren, or you can try to attach to probably the Pathfinder being the larger of the ships and work your way through that one. There are environment suits on the Coldfire's Mercy that will protect you for a limited amount of EVA. So if you land next to it and then scooch over, but the oxygen supplies in there in those suits are limited. They are for ship to ship. So
the one on the top's a Pathfinder. They're fairly easy to access. Can't quite tell what the one on the bottom is. Might be a Star Sprite.
If we attach ourselves to the Pathfinder and then cut through, is that going to give an energy signature?
Only if they're looking for it, and they'd have to be looking for it.
Right. Duran presses the comm to the engineering. Lasse, we're here. I don't know what to do about getting in. Can you come and give us your expertise?
All right. What do I know about these ships? Have I come across them before? Is there...
Can you please make me an education roll?
Yeah, okie dokie. That's 1 yellow and 2 green for me.
And the difficulty is going to be 2 purple.
So that's a triumph, and then 1 advantage and 1 failure.
So the success part of the triumph will cancel out the failure.
Yeah.
So that leaves you with a failure, but with a triumph and an advantage.
Yes.
Okay. And you were after trying to basically rack your brains about what you know about these various vessels.
Yeah.
Okay. You will probably have worked on a HWK 290 at some point during your career, because they're not hugely rare.
I think they're described as basically the Volkswagen Beetles of the stars.
Yeah.
Or the transit vans.
Yeah, so they're fairly common. You will have worked on some of those ones. So this is a very, very old version, but really each successive generation of the 290 is just polishing it up a little bit. It doesn't make massive sweeping changes. You certainly reckon that because of the nature of these craft, if there is any energy left in its energy cells, when you get on there, it shouldn't be too difficult to kickstart any life support, gravity shunts, anything like that working. And also, if you can get to a door, you can open that without too much difficulty.
Okay.
You don't really know anything at all about the Star Sprite. It's too obscure for your kind of real fringer experiences. The Pathfinder scout ship, again, you know a little bit about, but not a great deal. They are Outer Realms vessels, but I think that's probably more than you should have got, given that you got a failure. But, you know, you've not got anything more than that particularly. You know, that's the bog standard basics. You do have a triumph and advantage, though. Anything you want to spend those on?
I was going to ask, since I've probably at least been on the HWK, is this something where I could take a couple of our spare power packs, and there's probably a way to bodge them for a couple of other systems?
Yeah. That will be your triumph, though.
Yeah.
That, you can get some portable power to then patch into it when you're over there. Yeah, I'll allow that one.
As an alternative thought on that one, because it's not just powering the things, it's also whether, if they're powered down, there might be a droid complement on board who are also powered down. Would you know how many droids each one's like to have, that sort of thing?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, they're quite small ships. They're no bigger than ours, so probably.
So they
just
could have an astromech and they could not. Okay. It was a question. All right.
And also, complements like that, it varies from crew to crew to crew to crew to crew. You know, you could have ones that are entirely droids. You could have ones that have no droids whatsoever.
Yeah, but I don't know whether you could know from the model whether it's likely to have droids or not. It was a thought.
Not with a failure.
No, yeah.
So, Lasse, the plan is either to park, walk across, or drop ourselves on top and cut through.
I reckon if you can get someone on there, our easiest access point would be the Hawk, the HWK, because it's kind of a well-known ship. I know where the door would be. If you could get me over to the underside, it looks like it's twisted round a bit, so that would be the doorway. It's just, a little off balance. If I can get in there, I might be able to power it up enough to then get you guys in.
Okay. There's environmental suits here, so if you want to go and maybe take Agatha with you.
I could be useful, heavy lifting, stock doors, things like that.
Just in case there's any droids on there that don't like you being there.
To be honest, droids are not my concern at the moment. My concern is getting over there and finding that they've already been dug out for the bones of any worth that's left in them. There's no system, no oxygen, and no way back.
No, we can get you back, don't worry.
And you've got an advantage. Do you want to maybe have that to your mechanics test to open the door when you get over there?
Yeah, let's take it for that.
Okie dokie.
I go stuff putting on an environment suit.
It goes without saying, but land the craft.
Yeah.
Can I attempt a 4C now that we're within eyesight range?
This bodes well.
Yes.
I'll take the 2 light side rather than the 1 dark side.
Okay.
I land and I take a moment. In that pose that you've probably seen Oberon do before, which is Oberon's thinking / he's got his legs out and he's all kind of spread out, as it were. His eyes are closed.
What's Tugger's reaction to that going to be?
Probably shrug, because I think that droid is very good at shrugging.
Yeah, he's a definite shrugger, is Tugger. Tugger the Shrugger. No one's spoken to him to find out his opinion on the crew so far, so he just looks at you a little bit, turns back to looking out the window. Mr. Sparkles kind of meows a little bit from on top of his head, but there we are. You close your eyes, you centre yourself, and you cast your mind out. You find yourself standing in front of a maze. The walls of this maze are thorns. Long, sharp, thick, glistening thorns. And you can feel at the centre of this maze there is something shining, something calling to you. The book in the library, the data slate glowing with knowledge that you need, a fist-sized stone covered in arcane symbols, pulsing with a greenish light, a shadow of a person waiting with all the knowledge you could ever possibly desire at the centre of this labyrinth. And you start to walk through this labyrinth. But very, very rapidly, you realise that although there are pathways through this maze to get to this prize at the centre, the pathways are all too narrow for you to get there without cutting yourself along the way. There is no route that will not extract its tithe and blood to get to what you seek. You draw your rifle, you take aim, you unload a volley of shots, and briefly, very briefly, the thorns part, revealing a clear path to you. But almost immediately they nod back, thicker and tighter than before, and you can sense that there is no shortcuts here. There is no easy route to get to your prize. You will pay the cost, or you will leave. You wake up.
Over on to Lassa.
Yep, I'm here.
So what we're looking for is definitely here. I can sense it.
Alright.
I also sense a huge amount of danger. Be very cautious.
Roger.
I don't know if it's the thing itself that we seek that's dangerous, or what surrounds it.
Have we got any scanners on board the ship? Any eyes you could have on me?
Agatha has a hand scanner.
Yeah, there's Agatha's hand scanner, but really, that's...
Do we
that's
have
a bit much.
anything that enables our ship to scan them? Because we managed to...
Yes, but there are two immediate kind of downsides to that. The first is that if there is no power on in there at the moment, you won't get anything, because that's mostly what it reads.
No, but we wouldn't recognise anything waking up once that door was open before I could see it.
Yeah. The second thing is that if you start doing that, you will, by the very nature of the kind of the sensor ping, will become more visible to anything else in this vicinity.
Would it be worth us all going across with you?
I'm not sure. How many suits have we got?
4.
So, yeah.
Right. Suit up.
Okay.
As you're all suiting up, Pyjack comes over to you. He's got his clone armour back on, and he says, "Now listen, my armour is sealed, vacuum sealed, but I don't have any spare oxygen tanks that'll fit my armour, and it's mostly filters rather than a proper, EVA suit.
Okay.
That's why we have these other ones on the Coldfire. So I can come with, if you want, and use one of these EVA suits, or I could stay here with Tagger, and if worse comes to the absolute worst, you send us a distress signal across the comms, and we'll get over there and bail you out. But in the meantime, we'll stay here making sure that the imps don't find us."
That seems like a good idea to me. I don't know about everybody else.
All right, then.
Right.
All right then.
Given that we know it's going to be dangerous, do we want to check the other 2 points of entry? Because then we might learn what happened to them.
I think the best way of checking them is from the inside, unfortunately, because they're enclosed.
Okay, point.
They're all attached onto this other ship, right?
Yeah.
So once we've got via one, we've got access to all of them.
In through the cargo entrance or through the top?
Doesn't really matter. As long as there's a door, I can get through it, I suppose.
Okay.
Whichever's easiest to get to, I think.
What's the gravity like on the asteroid?
There is no gravity. 0G.
Good, lots of heavy lifting. This is going to be easy.
Okay, when everybody's ready, we'll ensure everybody's ready and let down the... go out of the airlock.
Yep.
And through and make our way towards the ship.
Okay. So yeah, you start making your way across the surface of the asteroid towards the Coster Thibaren. Now, I imagine that Lassa has had 0G experience, being a lifelong shipboard mechanic.
Yep.
And I imagine that Jaren has had 0G experience, being
A pirate.
Being Jaren, yes. Being a pirate and all of the inherent risks that comes with it. I don't imagine that Agatha and Oberon have had a great deal of 0G, if any, so this is very, very disorienting for the pair of you. This is uncomfortable, it is weird. I kind of imagine, especially for Agatha, who is always used to the comfort of his own weight.
Yeah.
You know, he's a big man, and suddenly to not have that reassuring heft is probably a little uncomfortable.
I get the feeling that Oberon probably has only ever used 0G for fun.
Yeah, and massages, yeah. 0G dug massages on Canto Bight, as is well known. Yeah.
I suspect that Agatha's probably been involved in a 0G fight of some description, but mostly just to see whether he could do it, rather than because he was, good at it.
So you make your way over very, very slowly for Agatha and Oberon, slightly quicker for Jaren and for Lassa, but it is still relatively slow going. And out here, your vacuum suits do protect you from some of it, but you are also hit with the cold and the vastness and the emptiness of being out here. It is probably quite an intimidating feeling. You know, you are almost at the mercy of your own skill and little else to keep you near to the ground.
Lassa is incredibly comfortable with that because within the suit, all she can really hear is her own breathing. She knows the comms there if someone needs to contact her, but she really can focus on simply what she's doing. And also moving in zero gravity because everything is so precise. It's very calm for her. It takes a moment to pick up and move something from left to right, but it's all got a slight rhythm to it that she's very happy with.
And you make it to the door of the Coster Thibaren. To the cargo door, the airlock. On the ground, because you're approaching along the asteroid, you can see that this star sprite is parked up next to it and underneath the wing, which has taken pretty good piloting to get it that in and that concise, especially having to account for the rotation of the asteroid that it's on. But yeah, that is parked up. The umbilical that's connecting the star sprite to the Coster is a lot narrow. It's like a single person tube, because the star sprite is only at best 1 pilot, 3 passenger. It's a small, lightweight, short distance vessel. So yeah, that's kind of snugged underneath the wing. What you do notice as you're kind of getting near that is that normally the glass windshield is transparent, because that's how you see. It is not. It is opaque. It is like smoked glass almost. You can't see through it. It's like a black, non-reflective surface.
Is there a particularly bright sun or star around here that they might be avoiding, or does this look like it's designed like VIP windows?
Could be either or.
That is so cool.
Yeah, difficult to say. But yeah, so cargo entrance via the star sprite or to the airlock of the Coster.
How big a thing do we think we're leaving the ship with?
We don't know. The airlock would generally be a safer entrance because, well, if we go in via the cargo bay and there's an error, that isn't... I mean, it's designed to be airtight, but an airlock should be an easy open, easy shut. But if we're... I'm not sure.
I don't think we should go in through the star sprite, because when we have to go through the star sprite, we'll go through the one-person tube into the Hawk, and we'll be able to go one at a time, and if something bad happens in the Hawk, somebody will be alone.
Yeah, let's go for the airlock. It's probably safer.
Okay. You make your way over to the airlock then. Now, the airlock is presently powered down. So again, because I'm just hitting you with options today, there are 2 real ways to work the airlock. The first is to attempt to patch in your power supply, power it up, cycle it open, in and out. The second is to try and brute strength it open, because it does have a manual turn.
Okay.
Depends how saucy you're feeling.
Let's save our power for now and see if we can open it manually, because that seems reasonable. That way we've got the power for it if we need it. Agatha, you reckon you can give this a turn and a pull?
Agatha will try.
Okay, that will be an athletics test. There are going to be 2 setback die attached to this because of your unfamiliarity with the 0G. The difficulty is going to be, and I'm flipping a dark side point, 2 purple and a red.
Okay, I have 1 triumph, 1 success, 3 threat, and 2 dark side points.
Okay. What do you want to do with those dark side points? Do you wish to draw upon the dark side of the Force?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think at the minute it's just trying to get through a door. He's not particularly...
Okay. So that's a triumph, 3 threat, and...
1 success.
Okay. So the success is you do manage to get the airlock open. It is awkward. You have to kind of wedge one of your feet underneath the ship, to get the leverage to turn this thing. And you do, to begin with, kind of turn yourself a few times before you get into the rhythm of it. But yeah, the airlock creaks open. I am pocketing all of those threats.
Oh good, that's what we like to hear.
There is an escape of air as you open this airlock that's clearly been trapped in there. Not a lot, but enough that again it kind of rocks you back a little bit to begin with. But you can get into the airlock without too much difficulty. I don't know if you have any thoughts on your triumph.
I don't at this point. I mean, I'm gathering from the amount of air that's in there that the inner seal of the airlock is still working.
Yep.
And presumably there's still air inside that part, because the last thing somebody presumably did was get on board.
Yeah. If you have no thoughts on your triumph and no one... I mean, does the table have any ideas? If not, I have a suggestion.
Maybe the power to the airlock is working, or there's a thing you can pull.
The power on the inside of the airlock is working.
It would be really nice if it was just turned off and not out of power.
Yeah, we can...
Okay, yep, that's fine. So once you're in the airlock, you can manually close it, and then there is a power on button to then cycle it on the inside.
Excellent.
I'm happy with that. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, you get the airlock open. The rest of you manage to grab hold of something so you don't get blown away by this unexpected puff of air as it opens out. You get into the airlock.
So is this airlock big enough for one of us, or...?
It's big enough for 4 of you.
Right, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all getting on board with... Close the door behind us.
I presume so. Are you all getting on board?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay, you get on board. You close the airlock. You then flip the power on. There is a very, very faint humming as the power to the airlock cycles up. Close the external airlock. Very, very, very faint, like emergency running lights light up from the other side, the airlock leading into the ship that you can see.
Mm-hmm.
It's pitch black in there. Other than that, there is some air in here. A fair amount of air, really, but it's quite stale and quite old. Who is first to step through into the ship itself?
I think Agatha will continue to be first in.
Okay, you step into the ship. Who is next to step into the ship?
I'll happily be second.
Okay, Oberon steps into the ship. And at that point, I'm bringing these threats into play. The airlock slams closed, splitting Oberon and Agatha from Jaren and Lassa.
Mm-hmm.
There is the chunk sounds as the maglocks on the inside of the airlock engage, and over the intercom, a voice says, "Flesh." And that's where we're ending it for today. Thank you very much for listening.
I've seen better doorbells, but fair enough.
And before we sign off for today, this episode's patron is Mr. T. Mr. T, is the most aptly named patron we could possibly have for this show, I feel. A thoroughly fine chap. We've all had great fun chatting with him on Discord and on Twitter. And really, we just made up that you're able to back the show. I know you had to jiggle some stuff around to come on board, and we're very, very grateful that you did. We hope you're still enjoying yourself, and we all look forward to having many, many more entertaining chats with you going forward. Thank you very much, Mr. T, for backing the show.
Thanks, Mr. T. We'll
Thank
raise
you.
a cuppa for you.
And we will see the rest of you next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.